Russian media has confirmed that the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet, which came to China to participate in the Zhuhai Air Show, has received its first overseas order. Russian media did not disclose the specific buyer, but there are only a few potential buyers for this fighter jet. Just during the days when everyone was speculating about who the buyer was, Algerian media suddenly revealed a piece of news. One of the country's portal websites, Middle East and North Africa Defense, published a news item stating that they have purchased 14 Sukhoi-57 fighter jets. This news is basically reliable, so the mystery of who bought the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet should have been solved. The Algerian Air Force is not weak, and its relationship with Russia is quite close. The Algerian Air Force has 13 MiG-25s, 30 to MiG-29s, 20 to Su-24s, 58 Su-30 MKAS, and 40 Su-34s. A total of 165 mainline fighter jets are all Russian-made equipment. The Algerian military is also not short of money. It is one of the wealthier countries in North Africa and a relatively powerful country after the coup in Niger last year. Algeria stepped forward to oppose France. At that time, many people analyzed the military strength of Algeria and France and believed that if there was a real conflict between the two sides, France might not have a 100% chance of winning. In recent years, Algeria has also intended to continue to enhance its overall military strength. Purchasing the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet is a quite reasonable option for it. After all, Algeria has purchased so many Russian-made fighter jets before, and after purchasing the Sukhoi-57, it will be able to integrate into the combat system of its air force easily, which is of great help in enhancing its overall strength. This is also a very crucial transaction for Russia, as is known to all. During the entire process from research and development to mass production of the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet, it has faced the problem of capital shortage many times. Russia's fifth-generation fighter jet research and development plan can be traced back to the 1980s. At that time, the Sukhoi Design Bureau and the Mikoyan Design Bureau respectively launched the Sukhoi-47 and the Mikoyan 1.44 to compete with each other. The Sukhoi-47 did not win the competition, and its rival, the Mikoyan 1.44, was not put into mass production either. In 1991, the Soviet Union disintegrated, and a large number of military weapons and equipment development programs were shelved, including naturally the research and development of fifth-generation fighter jets. It was not until after 2007 that Russia's fifth-generation fighter jet research and development program was put back on the agenda. However, at that time, Russia's aerospace industry suffered from a severe loss of talent and a large capital shortfall, and the fifth-generation fighter jet research and development project faced many difficulties at the initial stage. Later, India agreed to jointly develop with Russia, but finally withdrew its investment halfway, which really dealt a heavy blow to the Sukhoi-57 project. But even under such difficult circumstances, the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet was eventually successfully developed and entered service and official mass production in 2020. After mass production was confirmed, the Russian Aerospace Forces initially purchased 78 aircraft. However, in recent years, due to the blockade of raw materials by Western countries, the mass production process has been rather slow. In addition, since 2022, the reputation of Russian weapons and equipment has been declining globally. In 2016, Russia was still the world's second-largest arms trading country. However, since the Russia-Ukraine war began, Russia's global military trade volume has been shrinking continuously. The Sukhoi-57 did not perform outstandingly on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield, which to some extent also affected the reputation of this type of fighter jet and even led to some unfair evaluations. Fortunately, by the end of 2024, there is finally some hope for the Sukhoi-57. This time, with Algeria's rescue. It has not only revitalized the reputation of the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet to some extent, but the arrival of this crucial capital may also help Russia solve some problems and make the mass production of the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet smoother. Many people think that the Zhuhai airshow has been of great help in the sale of the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet this time. This statement has some truth to it, but it is not completely objective either. Russia dispatched its most advanced fighter jets to the Zhuhai airshow. On the one hand, it wanted to use this platform to display them externally and look for potential buyers. Of course. On the other hand, it was also to show support for China. Russia brought two Sukhoi-57 fighter jets, one for static display and the other for demonstrating maneuverability. In particular, the one for dynamic display was piloted by Bogdan, a famous and legendary Russian pilot. It traveled from Russia to Taiwan and then to Zhuhai, and performed various extraordinary maneuvers at the Zhuhai airshow, which really broadened people's horizons. However, whether it is the influence of the Zhuhai airshow or these wonderful performances, they are probably not the key to the completion of this transaction. The most crucial reasons are as follows. First, Russia and Algeria have long been traditional trading partners, and the trust between the two sides goes without saying. Second, Algeria really needs this fighter jet. The completion of this transaction is basically a mutual desire, and Russia doesn't need to deliberately prove anything to Algeria through this airshow. In places we can't see, perhaps high-level military representatives of the two countries have already reached an agreement long ago, and they just chose to make it public at this time. The Algerian Air Force chose the Sukhoi-57 because its performance is completely sufficient for the Algerian Air Force. Evaluating a fifth-generation fighter jet requires considering multiple dimensions: maneuverability, stealth performance, etc. All belong to the characteristics of the fighter jet itself. Regarding the advantages and disadvantages of the Sukhoi-57 compared with the F-22 and F-35, I believe that with more and more information disclosed, this issue has become basically very clear. The Sukhoi-57 fighter jet is more biased towards maneuverability, due to limitations in technology, avionics equipment, and materials. It is not possible to achieve better stealth performance. But its stealth performance is not so bad that it can be compared with fourth-generation fighter jets. It may be at a slight disadvantage only when facing high-end air defense radars, but it is completely capable of coping with more than 90% of modern battlefield environments. The F-22 and F-35 also have their own shortcomings. For example, the biggest problem of the F-22 fighter jet is that almost 100% of its mission scenarios are only suitable for air combat, and its ground attack capability is almost zero. The F-35 fighter jet takes into account both ground-to-air and air-to-air combat, but neither of these has reached an especially top level. The Sukhoi-57 far surpasses the F-35 series in terms of maneuverability, and after replacing the engine with a new one, it is not unreasonable to imagine that it will surpass the F-22. More importantly, the maintenance cost of the Sukhoi-57 is far lower than that of the F-22 and F-35. The F-22 is extremely expensive to build, and the cost per flight hour is almost 2 to 3 times that of an ordinary fourth-generation fighter. The price of the F-35 has indeed been reduced significantly. After mass production, the unit price has dropped below $100 million. However, it still requires air-conditioned hangars and continuous replacement of stealth coatings, and the maintenance cost is also quite high. In contrast, the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet is much lower than American-made fighters in terms of both procurement and maintenance costs, making it very suitable for use by Algeria. Of course, there is also a crucial issue: the J-35 fighter jet. which was on display at the Zhuhai Air Show, seems to be better than the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet in all aspects. So why did Algeria choose the Sukhoi-57 instead of the J-35? The answer is actually very obvious. On the one hand, the success of weapons and equipment sales has never been completely determined by the price and performance of the weapons and equipment themselves. The geopolitical background between countries is most often the most decisive factor. Algeria has indeed purchased a large number of Chinese weapons and equipment, but this does not mean that the Algerian Air Force will necessarily prefer Chinese products in the fighter jet project. On the other hand, the J-35 fighter jet has just made its debut. There are no definite answers to questions such as whether there is sufficient production capacity for foreign sales, when the purchased products can be delivered, whether it is suitable for Algeria, and how the follow-up cooperation will be carried out. How could Algeria rush to purchase Chinese fighter jets without resolving so many issues? Moreover, for this country, the choice of a fighter jet will be used for several decades, and these countries attach great importance to the actual combat capabilities of weapons and equipment. Although the Sukhoi-57 has not had particularly outstanding performance, it has at least been on the battlefield during the Russia-Ukraine war. It is believed that when Russia sells this fighter jet to Algeria, it will also tell the other side how the Sukhoi-57 fought on the front line. There may be some very exciting stories among them, which are also the key to impressing Algeria. All in all, the sale of the Sukhoi-57 fighter jet is a very important thing for Russia. As an important partner of Russia, China should also be happy. Moreover, there is no zero-sum game between the Sukhoi-57 and the J-35 in the field of foreign trade, and both sides can sell their products respectively. The future of the J-35 is bound to be full of hope. As long as the product is good, China will surely not worry about sales. So why bother about the gains and losses at this moment?